Shalom, friends. I'm here with John and Jane August of Rochester, New York.
Shalom.
They spearheaded the planting here, the purchase and planting of 18 dunam, about 4.5 acres of land 3 years ago. This land was planted in September 2019. Unfortunately or fortunately, if you want to keep the traditions and the halachot, so fortunately we're keeping Shmita 100%, and we're also doing it the natural way, only using organic materials, so we're not spraying any pesticides, any chemicals whatsoever. So we have a lot of growth of weeds, grassy weeds, thorns, etc., because we're letting the land be idle for the year. However, in order for these young trees not to choke from the excessive growth, our gardener comes around every so often and goes approximately 1 meter around each tree so that they can grow without being choked off. As you can see, I don't know if you got the good views, these, although we can't eat these because we haven't gone into the 4th year, orla, so we can't harvest these and make oil and sell the oil, market the oil, etc., and of course consume the oil, but we could predict that next year, at the end of October, when we come to harvest, we will have a nice first harvest, because we know these trees, we will have a good quality spicy oil. Did you notice when they were planted, they were very, very, very thin? And look at the trunk of the tree now.
It's pretty good in 3 years.
Yes.
Less than 3 years.
Now, at the end of Shmita, which is the beginning of Rosh Hashanah, which I believe is September 25th this year, immediately following that, before Yom Kippur, we will have the tractors out here with the tractor trimmer. Everything will be cut down. Following that, when we get closer to the rain season, which is usually after Sukkot, sometime in October, tree by tree will be reinforced, and we will be doing a major pruning, which will be cutting them down so that they grow back thicker and wider, because we want maximum sun exposure. We don't want tall trees with branches getting lost in between. Furthermore, whatever replacement trees need to be made, because during the first 4 years, here and there you lose some trees, they will be replaced also after Shmita. So sometime in October, in the preparation of the rainy season, so we'll have the trees put in and the moisture and bombardment, hopefully, God willing, of more rain, and we will fill them up with the replacement trees will be larger trees transplanted according to halacha, so that they'll also fit into the orla of next year. So they'll be part of the harvest.
You buy trees that are 3 years old. They're similar in age to these.
Right, and we take the same ground, the same earth. A certain amount has to be there and has to go in like a...
That's how they halakhically transplant.
That according, yes.
To bring enough of the old soil that the tree was...
Right, so it's not like a newly planted tree. Yeah, it's a bigger tree than what we were using.
I'll ask him, have we had any problems with vandalism?
We had some problems at the beginning. We put up a little bit of fencing, which helped a little bit. We came with our friends from the dog unit unannounced several times. It seems to have done the trick for the time being. Of course, we know when the trees get bigger and are more productive, and we will have more olive groves in this area, so we will have full-time people from the dog unit as workers and security. So we hope that we are able to sell enough more dunams, more acreage here, to justify that by next season.
So when you transplant some of the other bigger trees, will they come from the same area or the same place that these trees came?
Probably, but not definitely. They're grown in nurseries, and here we have two kinds of trees. We have Cortina and Suri. Now, Cortina are not native to Israel. They were native to Italy. These were purchased at the Israeli border to Lebanon in Rosh Hashanah, and more recently we have somebody by Pardes Chana that has very good Suri trees. But it's a similar oil, and it's a very similar tree. Going forward, we've decided to stick, so it's not where they're from. They'll be from Israel, but with the Suri only, which is what we have mostly in Rosh Pina as well. We can't say which nursery they'll be from, but it'll be Suri olives.
Joel, you told me that we were having some complications with water. Do you see an end in sight of getting the water you need to this site?
We'll be able to have water when we had water. The question is how much we're going to pay, and also when we expand, how much we're going to pay. There is a very unfortunate situation with only this area. What everyone should know in outside of Israel, when we get farming rights for water, discounted, we're paying much less than the household pays. We're paying much, much more than they're paying in the rural areas outside of Rochester. Nevertheless, in this particular area, there's one local authority that controls the agricultural water, and they want per dunam to get you started. I call it a payoff, and it's very high. We're going to try one more time to negotiate with them. If we have no choice, we're going to have to play by the rules. In the meantime, we're consulting with the legal counsel.
And up till now, you've been able to hydrate the plants?
Up till now, we've been okay, but going forward, it's It's not. We have to have a system, and we will.
Is there anything happening in this general area that people in Rochester should know? Yavniel and the surrounding area?
Yes, the price of land in Yavniel has skyrocketed. The price of land in Israel is very appreciated in value. The last year has been incredible. The last 6 months I can't explain. I can only tell people that if you can buy private land in Israel and you don't need the income, buy it.
Knowing we planted these trees just pre-COVID, what are the COVID complications? How has that made it difficult to do your job here?
COVID was very hard because we had to cancel plantings. The Israeli government was very, very tough on people joining together even outside for a while. We canceled several days. We had problems with registration where the offices were closed, and then we had to do financing, and we had problems where people canceled orders of purchase to entice them, but it's working out.
Are you still utilizing the girls' agricultural school?
Yes, as a matter of fact, they came a couple of different classes and school buses to the harvest in Rosh Pina, and thank God.
How far from here to Rosh Pina? Another hour or as close to?
I would say 45 minutes.
Rochesterians, we looked at land in Rosh Pina before we settled on this land, so this is I think it's a wonderful setting close to the Canarid as we are. It's just gorgeous.
Yes.
Great. You want to introduce who is this gentleman?
Our field manager, David Stefanski. He organizes the volunteer days, he organizes the planting days, he organizes the harvest days. He's the connection with the olive press. He helps with marketing the oil, and when I'm too busy, he also helps finish sales calls.
How long have you been in Israel?
I live in Israel already for 3 years, but I made Aliyah a year ago.
From where?
Brussels?
From Belgium, from Antwerp.
Antwerp.
Have you ever been to Belgium?
I have not. We're going to Europe soon, I thank you. I've never been to Europe, I'm ashamed to say. I haven't traveled a lot of places.
Well, neither did Elvis. I just saw the movie.
Nice Jewish boy.
Excellent. Well, we're thrilled to be here. I know you'll piece this thing together. We're thrilled to be here looking at Rochester's land, Rochester LLC. And for those people back in the U.S., you should get here. We'll connect you with Joel. You're in Israel. You must stop up and see your land and understand the whole story.
Haverim Rosh Esther.
Thank you. Congratulations for
Thank
getting
you.
them up and growing, and we have real olives. So
Yes, you do.
we're
Toda
thrilled.
rabah.
Baksha.